which is kind of the question you're asking. How do I have it all? And it's not possible to do it all, but it is possible to have it all. And most people confuse those two things, which is why they're constantly torn. And by the way, also burnt out and overwhelmed, which is a recipe for
Yeah.
burnout and overwhelm, which I deal with a lot. So the first thing I would say is context is decisive. So and what I mean by that is if I say, in the context body part, what is this thing? You would say what in the context body part?
What do you mean? This your finger?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
sorry.
It's like you don't have to think about it, right? And if I
Right.
say the context number, what is it?
1.
And the context direction.
Up.
Yeah. So the same exact thing in
Right. So
reality.
you guys who are listening to the pod,
Oh,
she's
I'm so
holding
sorry. Yes.
That's all right. She's holding one finger up, and I'm answering those questions.
Yeah. So if you're not looking at the visual, every time you alter the context, the content alters in terms of your view of it and what you're going to do with it and what you can do with it. What's possible alters based on the context. Now, the context doesn't live in reality like a finger, right? Or a one, but it lives in language and it's completely malleable. So when people are at work and they have one context for work, like, oh, I got to get things done. And then in family, they have a different context, like, oh, I have to be loving, or whatever the context is, that shapes how you view the content. Why people get torn is because they have different contexts for different areas of their lives. So they're constantly being pulled into different realities. And that's exhausting.
Yeah.
So what I coach people to do is create an overarching context for their life that can include all of it. It can include their family, it can include their work, it can include their well-being, it can include, their romance, whatever it is, so that they can actually have a context of, like, for me, my context is empowering people to make their dreams come true, right? So that includes my family. It doesn't exclude them. And it includes my work, and it includes everything. It includes going to Starbucks or being in a taxi and speaking to the taxi driver. So I'm never outside of my created context. Most people don't create context. They just end up in a context. And then they are surviving the context they ended up in. So actively designing a context gives you a chance to have the kind of life that you are authoring, not that the circumstances are authoring.